Good morning.
Good morning.
Alright. Our guy who takes care of our video might have to do some editing today. We got some wasps flying around, so if I'm freaking out, you gotta take that out, Darren. Alright. Let's get started today. Today's sermon is over patience. Hello. Have you ever prayed for something that seems like there's just no answer? And you keep praying, and sometimes you get discouraged. Sometimes it seems like God's not answering. Maybe it's a child you worry about. Maybe it's a marriage that has not been healed. Maybe it's your health, your finances, or just a habit that you can't shake. We know what it's like to wait, and we know what it's like to wrestle with God's silence. Today we're going to read about the Canaanite woman in Matthew chapter 15, verses 21 through 28. Then Jesus left Galilee and went north to the region of Tyre and Sidon. A Gentile woman who lived there came to him pleading, "Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David, for my daughter is possessed by a demon that torments her severely." But Jesus gave her no reply, not even a word. Then his disciples urged him to send her away. "Tell her to go away," they said. "She is bothering us with all of her begging." Then Jesus said to the woman, "I was sent only to help God's lost sheep, the people of Israel." But she came and worshipped him, pleading again, "Lord, help me." Jesus responded, "It is not right to take food from the children and throw it to the dogs." She replied, "That's true, Lord, but even dogs are allowed to eat the scraps that fall beneath their master's table." "Dear woman," Jesus said to her, "your faith is great. Your request is granted." And her daughter was instantly healed. So today we're going to begin where she begins. She's not coming to Jesus out of curiosity. She's not attempting to hold a theological debate, which we see prevalent. She's not looking for blessings. She's not asking for prosperity. She is simply a mother with a suffering child. Any parent knows when your child is hurting, your heart is hurting also. Her daughter was being tormented. She was carrying that pain as if it was her own. Pain as a way of stripping away pretense. Pain changes the way you pray. You don't care about appearances. You don't care what others think. You just want help. Some of the deepest prayers you'll ever pray are born out of pain. That's when we get sincere about it, yeah? Everything's going good, we might say a prayer, but we don't mean it. Things start getting rough, things start getting painful, suddenly we mean it. But Jesus doesn't answer her at first. That might be the hardest part of this story. Matthew 15, verse 23, "But Jesus gave her no reply, not even a word." Silence. Have you ever prayed and it just felt like God was silent? Have you ever prayed and it just seems like there's no answer at all? Have you ever thought, "Lord, do you even hear me?" Have you thought, well, maybe my faith isn't strong enough? We usually think that silence means that we're being ignored. We often think that silence means that something is wrong with us. Scripture shows us that it's something different. Sometimes God is doing something in the silence. Sometimes God is testing what you actually believe. Sometimes silence deepens our desires. Sometimes silence draws us closer. Proverbs 14, verse 29, "People with understanding control their anger. A hot temper shows great foolishness." See, patience teaches us to trust God's timing more than our own. And the Gentile woman, she didn't get offended. She didn't walk away. She didn't give up. The people, however, people gave up on her. The disciples gave up on her. They're like, "Lord, send her away. She's annoying us. She just keeps asking and asking." People gave up. But something inside of her refused to quit. When Jesus does speak up, however, it's very shocking. Matthew 15, 24. Jesus said to the woman, I was sent only to help God's lost sheep, the people of Israel. That's pretty harsh. That Gentile woman comes to him, and she even addressed him by his title. She says, Lord, Son of David, help me. And he says, I didn't come for you. I came for Israel. Wow. But instead of shrinking back, she steps forward and kneels before him. Matthew 15, verse 25, but she came and worshiped him, pleading again, Lord, help me. You notice the more obstacles that she's facing, the closer to Jesus she's getting. Disciples are trying to send him away. Jesus isn't replying. He says, I'm not here to help you. And she just gets closer and closer and closer until Jesus says something that unsettles many readers. I've heard this many times. I've heard people try to say various things about this. Verse 26, Jesus responded, it isn't right to take food from the children and throw it to the dogs. Now, dog is a typical insult that a Jew would call a Gentile. But if you read the actual Greek word here, and I don't have it listed right now, but it actually means puppies. He's not insulting her. He's not calling, oh, you filthy Gentile dog. He's just saying puppies. It's not right to take food from the children and throw it to puppies. This is a parable. He's drawing her deeper into faith. And her response is extraordinary, right? Verse 27, she replied, that's true, Lord, but even dogs are allowed to eat the scraps that fall beneath their master's table. No pride. She doesn't argue. She doesn't make demands. She doesn't question God's fairness. She accepts it. She accepts it for what he said. She simply acknowledges. She says, Lord, I know who I am, but I also know who you are. Then comes the moment where everything turns. In verse 28, Jesus says, Dear woman, your faith is great. Your request is granted. And her daughter was instantly healed. There are only 2 times, at least that I've found, there are only 2 times in the New Testament that Jesus says, your faith is great. And both times it was to a Gentile. The Canaanite woman here and the Roman centurion. We find that in Matthew 8. We're just going to read that, verses 5 through 12. When Jesus returned to Capernaum, a Roman officer came and pleaded with him, Lord, my young servant lies in bed, paralyzed and in terrible pain. Jesus said, I will come and heal him. Isn't that interesting? Jesus didn't say no. He didn't tell this Roman centurion, I only came for the lost sheep of Israel. He didn't say, Jesus said, I'll come. But the officer said, no, Lord, I am not worthy to have you come into my home. Just say the word from where you are, and my servant will be healed. I know this because I am under the authority of my superior officers, and I have authority over my soldiers. I only need to say, go, and they go, or come, and they come. And if I say to my slaves, do this, they do it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed. Turning to those who were following him, he said, I tell you the truth. I haven't seen faith like this in all of Israel. And I tell you this, that many Gentiles will come from all over the world, from east to west, and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at the feast in the kingdom of heaven. But many Israelites, those for whom the kingdom was prepared, will be thrown into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. 2 times, and both were Gentiles. There are still many Jews that do not accept Jesus as the Messiah. That's the point of Jesus coming. It had to be fulfilled. That God came to save his people. And he did. 2,000 years ago. But now this faith is open to everybody. He even states here, many Gentiles will come from the east and west and sit down at the feast in heaven. But back to the Gentile woman. You know, sometimes God waits, not because he doesn't care, but he's doing something inside of you. Patience isn't just waiting quietly. Patience is waiting faithfully. The woman did not sit back passively. She kept coming. She was drawing closer. She didn't give up. Matthew 7, verse 7 through 8 says, keep on asking and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking and you will find. Keep on knocking and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, everyone who seeks finds, and everyone who knocks, the door will be open. Faith is persistent. God doesn't rush the process, again, because he's doing something deeper. Patience reveals if your faith is rooted in God, or is your faith simply rooted in the results? Which is it? The Gentile woman did not get angry when Jesus did not answer. Her faith wasn't based on how fast he was moving. It was based on who he was. Don't let go of God. He'll never let go of you. Sometimes the greatest miracle is what God does inside of you rather than what he does for you. God's silence is not absence, and God's delay is not denial. Persistent faith still moves his heart. So let's keep asking, keep seeking, and keep knocking. We'll end with silent prayer and have a closing song.